So if you bought a home between 2014 and 2020, the chances are that you have an incredible amount of equity. In fact, the odds are stacked in your favor. So today I want to talk about how you use that equity to buy more real estate. Because if you're looking to buy a new home, a second home, or investment property, using that equity that you already have in your current home is a fantastic place to start. But before we get too far into this video, if you appreciate this content, I would love it if you'd hit that thumbs up button below and subscribe to the channel. It just helps me reach more people like you. So first things first, what is equity and how do you calculate it? I mean, it's all well and good until you know how the sauce is made. Equity is the amount of money, quotes on that one, the amount of money that you have in your home. To calculate this, we take the market value of your home minus the amount that you owe, i.e., that pesky loan balance. And that gives us how much equity you have. Now, I know that everyone loves to hate on equity because it's actually not like money. It's not money that's sitting in your savings account. You just can't pull it from your bank. However, when it's used effectively, it can literally double, triple, or even quadruple your net wealth. There's a few tools that I as a lender can use to pull out or leverage that equity to go purchase more real estate. Number one is you go purchase a new primary residence. In other words, the home that you're going to then live in. Many buyers use their first home as a stepping stone, meaning it probably wasn't their dream home to begin with. And you see that a lot in this market with high purchase prices and high interest rates. People have to acquiesce, but realistically, buying your first home that will become your first investment is a phenomenal way to do real estate. Now you're in this home, you're getting married, or you're having kids, and that first home, which you knew wasn't going to be your forever home anyway, just doesn't fit all of your needs. So that first home, maybe it checked half the boxes. Now you need to go find the next home that checks off 80% of the boxes. It's a stepping stone. Doing it this way, you can use the equity in your home to pay the down payment and or the closing costs of your new primary home. Option number two is just buying an investment property. So you love the home you're in and you don't want to move, but you know you want to start buying real estate. So you look at it specifically as such. You're going to put more money down and your interest rate's going to be a little higher. The third option is a little broader. But what if you could use that equity for things not related to real estate, but it puts you in a better financial position, such as paying off other high interest debt or creating an emergency fund, giving yourself positioning to buy real estate. So here are some pros to accessing your equity. And for one, it does not force you to dig into your savings. I know that saving for your first home was probably a big task, and so is saving for your second one. So this strategy of accessing your equity alleviates some of that financial burden. Another pro is it's pretty easy to access the equity in your home. And lastly, you can oftentimes access that equity without having to refinance your first mortgage. And that's a huge win for a lot of people that purchased or refinanced within the last 3 years, because your rate, well, it's unbeatable. Of course, when there are pros, there are often cons. Firstly, pulling out equity does decrease the equity you have available, which could potentially put you in a risky situation down the line, especially if we have flattened appreciation or if your neighborhood loses value. Second, it simply adds additional risk to your finances because you've been taking on more debt. And then third, that new payment has to be included in your debt to income ratio. So if you're getting a home equity line of credit or a HELOC or even a loan, that payment is going to be added to your debt to income ratio, which could decrease your affordability when going to buy the next property. So how exactly do you determine how much equity you even have access to? Well, if you remember, we mentioned that the formula we talked about requires the two components. What is the current market value and your current lien amount? So that current market value, a lot of us just want to go online. So don't be deterred, say, by the Zillow home estimate. But you might want to enlist the services of an agent that you know, like, and trust to give you an honest opinion of what your current market value is. And then your loan balance is actually really easy. That can be found on your mortgage statements. Typically, however, if you are going to pay off that loan, you have to know that they're going to add that final monthly payment to the loan balance. So now I want to double click on this next piece. So just because you have a large amount of equity, let's say $200,000 between the market value of, say, $700,000 and the loan balance of $500,000. And you're like, I have $200,000 that I can tap into. There's usually a cap on the amount of equity you can actually borrow. Lenders aren't going to let you take out all of it going to 100% loan to value. So based on that, I would use a rule of thumb of 80 to maybe 85, at most 90% loan to value. Let's get to the good stuff. Like, how do I actually access my equity? I want to go through 4 options. Option number 1 for using your equity to purchase another home is a HELOC. That stands for a home equity line of credit. I mean, think of this as like a credit card against the equity that you have in your home. What's nice about this option is that you get approved for an upper limit, say $40,000. But if you have a zero balance, you don't owe anything. So if you're approved for $40,000, but say you spend $30,000 of it, you don't have to take out the full amount all at once. You only take out what you need. And with a HELOC, your first mortgage goes untouched, meaning you don't have to refinance. And oftentimes your payments will have an extended interest-only period. But do keep in mind that the HELOC interest rates are variable. They're often tied to prime, which is tied to the Fed rate. Option number 2 is a home equity loan. A home equity loan is slightly different than a HELOC, as the money comes to you in one lump sum. So it actually is distributed like a loan, and your payment is fixed, unlike a HELOC. But like a HELOC, your first mortgage payment remains untouched. The third option is a cash out refinance. Now this option involves you refinancing your home, but you'll get that lump sum of cash at the closing table to purchase that next home when you're ready. Doing a cash out refinance in this market with rates in the 7s may not be your best bet right now if your goal is to purchase another home. However, this is an incredibly powerful tool if you're looking to pay off other high interest debt. Think about it for a second. What's the interest rate on your car loan? Maybe 8 to 10%. How about your credit cards? They're as high as 22 to 25% now. And your current mortgage? I mean, if you add all of that together, your total interest being paid could be in the low teens. So using a cash out refinance to pay off your high interest debt can bring your total interest being paid between all of your debts way down. So the last option is pretty self-explanatory, and that's to sell your current home. Now, if you know me, you know I don't love this because you're getting rid of your assets. But depending on your situation, it can be a smart move. And depending on your sales price, you'll get that remaining equity as a lump sum at the closing table. Now keep in mind, with selling a home, you're going to have realtor fees, taxes, title fees, etc. You'll have full access to the funds to maybe a better investment opportunity. So knowing which strategy is best for you can seem a bit daunting. But remember, that's why I'm here. So please drop your questions down below in the comments or give me a call, and I'll talk to you soon.